So yeah, hello, welcome everyone. My name's ToolSin. I have just completely messed up that intro, but I'm sat here with Sam from Cryptoverse Comics. Sorry, who is like a fairly OG project at this point. Actually, I've certainly seen his name around a lot longer than many other names. So introduce yourself, Sam, and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sam. I've been in the let's say the crypto space for since about 2011. So it's been quite a while, but I've been in Cardano for about 2 years.
Oh wow.
Um,
I thought I was
the
old school being here a year, but
yeah, I was one of those Bitcoin maxis. No, actually, it was a letter coin, which was quite a fail. Um, yeah, so I've had multiple projects in the CNFT space. Actually, my first project was this one. It's Cryptoverse Comics, which minted the first drop in May last year. We've had about seven drops since then. That's our eighth, if I'm not mistaken. I also have two other projects. So one is Deep Vision, which is an AI generated art project, and the other one is Cardano not safe for work, which is well, let's say not safe for work. So, so yeah. Besides that, I'm 31 years old. I do work in the. I'm a computer analyst for the healthcare system here in Quebec. So that's what I do from 9 to 5. And well, I also do NFTs from 9 to 5, pretty much. So that's pretty much it.
yeah, I mean that's quite the impressive story. So I mean, what brought you to Cardano versus all the other options that were obviously available to you at the time?
Fun, actually. So I used to, roam a lot into Bitcoin Talk.org. And yes, I was seeing a lot of fun about Cardano. And I'm not the kind to take stuff for granted or stuff for cash, like we say in French. Not sure if that translates well. But yeah, so I kind of went ahead and decided to just double check to see if the FUD was true. And I happened to stumble into Charles' whiteboard video at one point. And from then, I started to migrate my funds completely over a period of 6 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there's a I have got I have going sorry I have some core principles when I do investments, and one of those is can that technology, that stock, whatever that company, eventually help to change the world, make the world a better place. So Cardano did check that box, and so did Singularity, and I also do invest in World Mobile Token for what it's doing in Africa, and there's another one which is not sure how to pronounce that. It's HNT Helium. It's a B2B wireless network on the blockchain
Oh,
hosted
okay.
by people. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
that
so that's
sounds a
pretty
little bit
much
different. Might be above my level of understanding of technology and stuff, but it sounds interesting.
yeah, it is. It is. So
um,
it's for anything, let's say NFC stuff that could work around, like for IoT, Internet of Things. Let's say you have watches that could work on that. You have well, medical devices that could work on that into rural areas and stuff.
okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sounds, yeah. But yeah, we hear about your project, not random other
Yeah,
projects.
sorry.
As much as that's interesting, maybe I'll have to see if I can get them on for an AMA sometime. Um, not sure
So
we're quite the same
that's
market, but you know.
so that's what they bring me into Cardano, and from there, at the time only staking was available. So I did a lot of research about that and made friends with a few pool operators. And what made me start, into NFTs? Initially, I was a moderator into it's Linda, so CryptoFly777 on Twitter.
Nice.
So the auction server that she has, still has, I think. I've been the moderator on there for maybe 7 months, and I was handling auctions, and I happened to meet tons of people that way, and then from there I started my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was where I first met you. Well, the first time we actually spoke, anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
I'd definitely seen you around before then, but I think that was the first place where we actually spoke.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, like, you've got, lots going on Cardano right now. Um, but yeah, we have the comic, like the reason that we're all here. Which, I mean, I've not seen the full comic, but I have seen various different artworks from drops, and obviously I actually minted one of your latest drop, the Singularities. Absolutely
Hmm.
amazing, like
Thanks, man.
absolutely amazing. Like the detail involved kind of like blows my mind a bit. Like it's like when you zoom right in, and then you're still finding more details that you didn't see before. Um, but yeah, like how long has it take? Like how long did this take you to make?
The comic book itself, or the drop, or
Well, I mean, all of it. Like how let's start with the beginning on this, as we're going to be here for a minute anyway. Like how long
yeah,
did it
yeah, for
take you to
sure.
go to like create the concept and everything like
Yeah. So take a seat.
that?
I'll explain you all the story. So yes, it started, let's say, about April, March last year. So when NFTs came on Cardano, it was the first interaction I've had with NFTs. I was on BTC, so there were no anything of that kind. And yeah, so from there, I kind of explored a few different projects, and there was Space Buds at that time. There was Cardano Bits, and it kind of triggered my ADHD imagination. So from there, I have this kind of dream since my childhood. Since I'm about 15 years old, I've been reading and collecting comic books. So I'm a kind of a geek in that department, and I've always wanted to have or a comic book store or publish comic book. So that was kind of the dream at the time, which was maybe not so desirable as it's not the common path you pick to be successful, you know.
No.
Um, but yeah, so I started to think about that, and I had a TV show I was very a fan of in the 90s, which was called Reboot. Reboot was a TV show where everything that you had in the story going on was related in some ways to PC parts, network, games, that sort of thing. And I kind of grew up with that. I was born in 1990, and that the show stopped, I think, in 2001. So it did run. So at that point, I think I've been looking at that for a half of my life. So I did grew up with that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I
Side
decided
note:
to.
Google says that it's being rebooted on Netflix now.
Oh yeah, and that's pure garbage. Don't watch that.
Okay. I was
It's
getting all
been
interested then.
canceled
Like I'll pass then.
already. I've tried to purchase the franchise after that, but yeah, there's no way to reach out to them. Even my lawyer didn't receive any callback, so I'll try in a few years back maybe. The so I was a big fan of that show, and I was also a big Dragon Balls fan, which at the time was the only anime I was watching. So I kind of took those two reference TV shows of my childhood and merged them together, if you want. The concept is to relate pretty much everything in a certain way to blockchain. So you'll have the, let's say, Cardano universe. You'll have the converter that will allow you to move from one universe to the other. The heart of that universe, which is Cardano, is called the, I don't know how to say that in English, but Ouroboros. That that dragon that
Yeah,
bits its
yeah,
own.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the heart that stabilizes the universe, and there's a creature which is called Hydra that protects it in the core of a mountain and like a volcano planet, if you want, molten planet. So yeah, everything in a way kind of relates to the space we're evolving in a like to relate that to my reference shows.
Nice.
So that's the story about the comic book and the let's say the goal with that was to create a story that would fit the first story arc that would fit into 12 issues. So the first one that we just released, which is with the current drop, the Singularities one, contains chapter one, but the story is going to play to be over 12 chapters, so 12 drops.
Oh wow.
The Yeah, exactly. So we already have 5 chapters scripted, ready to be drawn. But we need to get the artist to work, and he had some delays to work for the second issue. So actually, this issue for the artwork only took about a month and a half, and it took about from half a month to a full month for the scripting and put the story together for one issue. So my hope is to be able to put out another issue out every 3 months. That would be strictly for singularity holders. We can talk about that a bit later. But yeah, the so that's how it started, and yeah, from there, I think I forgot the question.
I mean, I think you've got most of it so far.
Oh
Like,
yeah, okay, great.
so how did you go about finding an artist then? Because the person you've got is very good.
Yeah, I've started over. In the past, I like to go and use freelance websites like Freelancer, Upwork, Fiverr. But I quite quickly found out that those websites are good for uh, work that aren't time sensitive. That won't be reoccurring over time, and
Yeah.
let so that just didn't really work for that kind of stuff. I went and reached people actually over Reddit. There's a good community of artists, comic artists that are ready to work over there. And that's where I found the scripter, which works for Image Comics, and that's where I found my artist as well.
Very nice.
But I've been trying. I made tryouts for artists for 6 months actually. So I
Oh wow.
went through about 12, 13 artists before finding this one. So it was very hard, or the person didn't really reproduce the thing how I wanted it to be. So the drawing were good, but the scenes weren't properly made, or the person was almost unreachable at all times. So the person popped up when it was done, and then I couldn't reach the person back. So that really wasn't ideal for a long term project.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, communication in just about everything is key these days, let alone the NFT market,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
requires even more so.
yeah, exactly. And I had such a great relation with my scripter that we decided to, while we wait for the artist to catch up on the issues, instead of writing all the issues right away, we decided to start writing a novel on one of the characters. So it will be a fantasy novel, which will be the origin story of Daedalus, which is the my favorite character of the story. Is a god in the Cardano universe. So there will be about it's going to be a, sorry, it's going to be a novel of about 50,000 words, which will be made available for the holders as well.
Wow, that's yeah. I mean, that's a lot of work right there. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Like it takes
but
me an hour. It takes me an hour to write the daily recap. It's like a couple of hundred words, maybe.
yeah, it's much more easier when it just flows through the mind, and you just it's different when it's not something you have to I don't know to say that in English, like to something to you don't have to force,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just
Just flows naturally.
instinctively. Yeah, exactly. Right.
So, do you have all the the well? Do you have the framework for that set out in your mind then, or like how long have you been working on that already?
The framework, you mean like
Like the
the
plan for what's going to
structure? Yeah.
happen.
Pretty much. Actually, let's say I have 3 to 5 years ahead of stuff I'd like to do slash accomplish. Let's say over 3 years, I'd like to at least come up with the 12 issues. Um, I want to keep doing the character releases, because I like concept art. I have a different artist actually, um, which was stuck in the war lately, but he's okay now, uh, thankfully.
Yeah,
But
that's good
yeah,
news.
that artist works, yeah, in the video game industry, and he's really good at doing concept art. So the current drop we're doing was made by the comic book artist. The other drops that were made prior to that, besides Udon's one, were all made, not all, but the three last ones, let's say that, were made by that artist. And I want to keep coming up with new characters to, let's say, give something to the community besides between chapters. Because if, let's say, we aim for 3 months, but if something happened and we make it in 4 months, then it kind of become a little bit of a wait time to get more stuff of the
Yeah.
story. So yeah, I want to come up with more characters and put them into perspective into the story, give a little origin story, or what are they doing in the this universe, etc.
Nice. So will there be opportunity for the community to have their input into new characters and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something. I did think about. Just didn't come up with let's say a right way to coordinate like the people and uh, the artist and myself. I'm kind of looking recently at the Ada Ninjas, the manga project, which is building basically their manga with the community.
Yeah.
So they seems to have put up something that works well together, and I want to kind of look into that to make my own way of doing it. Because there's something with me is that I don't want to just reproduce something. I want to make it my way. So
Yeah.
often I have to explain a little bit more because yeah, I just can't do a whitelist spot. I'll have to generate tokens, like I did to attach a preview of the comic book,
Yeah.
and yeah, so there would be an opportunity there. But to answer your question, let's say after we did put out the 12 issues, I'd like eventually to maybe uh, or buy another franchise and bring it under Cryptoverse Comics to become a kind of a publisher. So have multiple, not necessarily stories from the same universe, but multiple franchise. And so that's something I'd like to do, or simply create spin-offs and do a little bit like DC and Marvel are doing with their extended universe. So that's something I'd like to be doing, let's say, uh, within 3 years. And then 5 years, maybe I'd like uh, to extend to other medias. So if it's a internet web show or anime, I don't know, but I'd like to go that way. And I know some people who are in the movie industry. It's just that right now, I would not have the funds to do that. Because let's
Yeah.
say an animated episode in Hollywood, it's about 3 million per episode of budget for everyone to put the stuff together and the post production and yeah. So that's
Yeah. That's a lot.
something I see. Yeah, for let's say 5 to 10 years. That's where I'd like to go eventually.
And that's all going to be on Cardano and nowhere else, or are you looking to branch out onto other chains in the future as well?
My priority, at the moment, I don't see where I could go else than Cardano. And I don't know, it just kind of fits well with this blockchain. It's kind of my place to be. But when things will start to grow, if we kind of get saturated in the market, maybe we'll go and extend to other chains if situation evolves in the space and we have other chains that become interesting.
Nice.
Because right now, for me, stuff like Solana or Ethereum or BSC aren't attractive. So I'd like to get maybe when we get to what's the era name? Is that Basho where there will be um, I don't remember. Well,
Yeah.
when we'll have that's a lot of word to say absolutely nothing. Let me say that.
It means nothing
Yeah,
in English either. So
interoperability. Is that the word? The
that's the
word
word.
inter.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, exactly. So when we become interoperable, then I'd like to be able to maybe use other chains or extend my service to other chains that will work well with the main chain I'm on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that with all the tie-ins with Cardano history and the way you're arranging everything is a very good and different way of bringing new eyes to Cardano. Actually, honestly,
Hmm.
obviously you're only on Cardano now, but in 3 to 5 years time or even 10 years time, We're all hoping to still be here and working and hustling our NFTs and doing good. So the fact that you've got a plan that long term is incredibly heartening.
Thanks, man. But
It's difficult to plan so far ahead, but the fact that you have all these different ideas and ways to expand already, and you're already thinking about that now is really awesome.
thanks, man. It's maybe my background at university. I've studied in business planning and stuff like that. So every time I start a project, I always kind of sit there for a few minutes, and I'm already 30 years ahead. Will it work? What do I need to change for to make it work? So yeah, it's in my personality to do that, and I can't really work without a goal ahead in front of me. And the story is really, like you said, it would be good to bring maybe other eyes to Cardano, and I think the story would would allow me to go there because singularity in the story. I don't know if you read it already.
I have not yet, actually. I've been rather busy with all sorts recently.
Blah blah blah. Yeah,
I'm
so
being at
I
least I'm being honest about it.
no, it's fine, no problem at all. The I won't sell any punch, but there's a character who tries to come over into the Cardano universe, and that character needs a champion to go and get the converter. Okay, so that character comes from another universe, and that universe isn't named yet. I know which one it is, but eventually the story will, at some point, go there, come back, go elsewhere. So yeah, it's not strictly Cardano. Stuff will develop eventually.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty sweet.
I have a little synopsis actually, if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
I I have a little synopsis built up that I can read. So excuse me if I read like a that's not a word I can say, but
Well, your English is far better than my French, so
I didn't hear you talk French yet.
I I I I actually used to be semi-fluent in French when I was about 10,
Ah,
because
yeah.
I used to go to France on a regular basis. That stopped when I was like 10, and I'd forgotten more French than I'd ever learned by the time I took my French exams at school, and I've never used it since. So I understand bits and pieces, but I certainly couldn't have a conversation.
We lose it so fast.
Yeah.
I used to work in the customer service branch for a telecom company in English all the time. But since I haven't spoken in English for about 10 years, I completely lost the accent, lost the fluidity, and even the words don't come to my mouth as easily. So I'll read the little synopsis. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a resume of what will happen in the first story arc, which will be over the first 12 issues.
Nice.
So it goes like that. The Cryptoverse follows Byron, a down on his luck everyman whose life has just hit an all-time low. He spends his days watching the people he cares about suffer as he does his best to help them in any way he can. So, when suddenly Byron gets a chance to not only help the other people he cares about, but to help the entire universe, how can he possibly say no? A powerful being from another universe, Singularity, reaches out to Byron and requests that he becomes her champion. She tells him about a goddess named Ada who is poisoning his universe. With the power Singularity bestows upon Byron, he requests that he does whatever it takes to end Ada's reign of terror. Byron now must face down the most powerful beings in the universe in an attempt to protect the people he cares about most. So that's the synopsis
Yeah.
of the comic book.
Yeah, I mean it's quite interesting actually because it sounds like the point is going to be to defeat Ada, which is obviously a fairly integral part of Cardano. Um,
So you may put the finger on some plot twist right there with the synopsis if you're a bit clever.
yes. Yeah.
How could he destroy Ada? But yeah, so that's the just a little sneak peek for the those who didn't read the story.
Yeah, and that's up on the website if you want to read it all yourself and everything. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, I've got that up for you now. Feel free to make sure you go to the website and read that because we have the minting information for singularities below, which,
Yep.
as far as NFTs goes these days, is very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Like
30 Ada.
yeah. What made you go for that price point as opposed to, I mean, like artwork of a similar stature routinely is minting at 100 plus ADA now.
Yeah. The argument for that actually was, you know, uh, if in the book industry, not just the comics industry, but in the book industry, if you don't put your first issue in as many hands as possible, it's less likely that people will hop on the story later on and then try to catch up.
Yeah.
So what I wanted was to put as many out as possible. So that's why there's 10K. And I wanted to make it as affordable as possible while being able to finance the second issue. Initially, I wanted to take more out of my pocket and put it for 10 ADA. That was what I asked to my developer, which refused a little bit because it said it will absolutely send the wrong message. It will People will think it's garbage or it's a cheap project and they won't look at it. So I accepted to go to 20 ADA, and as I received the same comment then when it was 20 from the community. So I decided to make a vote on Twitter with different ranges, and that's the 30 with 5% royalties that one. So I went with that one. Uh, I didn't want to go for a, let's say, standard, pretty much 60 in the low end, 60 in the low end now.
Yeah, yeah, about that.
Um,
Or 50, 60, yeah.
yeah, so I didn't want to go there. But if I had to go there, I was setting it up to 0% royalties. And I did scaling from there down to 10 ADA. So that's pretty much the reason why it's so cheap, even though it includes an original artwork, 10K, with we have what 16 collaborators, which comes from different projects that made our one of ones for the drop. And we also have, let's say, a unique unannounced character. So it's a secret pool, I called it that way. That's going to be a character that'll be announced later in the story. So I'm kind of eager to see who's going to pull that because it's an NFT. I can't say. I can't say that. So the I don't want to.
Don't. I'm
I
going to
don't want
start
to
hitting
give
that mint button
a
again.
story away. Yeah. So so we have that. There's three perfect characters, which are we have the angel singularity, we have the normal singularity, if you will, and we have the death skinned singularity. So those are named like the perfect skin. And we also have my PFP I have right now. It's one of the two zombies that has been pulled. And
Nice.
there's 10 of those. So they're extra rare if you want. So I tried to get something interesting for collectors, as well as for people who likes to flip to make a quick buck. And I joined to all that, something for the passionate people, which is the comic book. So for every single NFT you have in the collection, if you go into pool.pm and watch into the metadata, you'll have a PDF file which you can download, and it contains the first issue.
Right,
So
just
I
throw
could
that
have
over for YouTube.
set a price of 150 maybe, but it would have been exaggerated for what the goal is. And what I like to say is that I already made my quick buck in this space. I'm not there for that particular thing. It's really a passion project of mine, and I'm giving it my all. And I just wanted to succeed and people to get in the story with me and build a franchise.
Sorry, yeah, I've just thrown up the PDF for the YouTube video when people watch it, and oh my god, it's actually the first time I've seen that, and that is amazing. I'm just looking at the front cover. I'm not going to go through everything. People can go and hunt that out for themselves and be as pleasantly surprised. But that cover is amazing.
Yeah, thanks, man. The artist worked so hard on that, and one of the person, the second page is the credits page, so I'm doxed there as well. You have my full name. You have the name of the artist, the scripter, and the letterer. The letterer is the owner of the project Haste and Alpha. It's another comic book project which already published on Cardano. It's not very well known, but it's tons of quality, actually. And the guy who did the lettering is the owner of that project. So he's a very generous person. And he also worked out all the blur that you can see on the cover page. So we were having a hard time figuring out what we'd put into the background for the singularity. And what he did was perfect, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I saw
The,
in your FAQ on the website that you'd had some issues with the background.
yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Those, you said some things in the FAQ, but yeah, just tell us a bit about what happened and how you got over those issues.
yeah, absolutely. So that's not for the comic book, but for the PFPs. So the PFP, the backgrounds that you see initially was supposed to be flat colors, like burnt orange, red, yellow, and such, like most projects. And I wanted that initially because that's standard and people are accustomed to that. But it was horrible with the character I have. It was absolutely horrible, and it killed the entire vibe. So I was one
Oh,
night I started to write to it's Adam Dean, that's my developer. I started to write to Adam, and I said I'm about to cry, and I don't know what to do. I'm releasing in 2 3 weeks, and I just want to throw it out and start over. So we decided to opt for the Adobe stock photo path, which I purchased a subscription for the biggest, um, how do they call that? The biggest agreement.
mm,
So that allows me to publish and recreate the art I purchase for the backgrounds and modify them as well and distribute them. So I made sure to be uh, in accordance with everything that's stated in the certificates. That's the word I was looking for.
yeah.
So the agreement certificates. So and with those, so we changed the color. We changed where how they are placed. Rotating stuff and just taking nice angles and changing the colors. And with that, it kind of gave exactly what we were looking for initially. When I say we, I mean me. But I worked on that with many people to uh, how to say to choose which background
Yeah.
we take. So I kind of made a group of friends and purchased a bunch of background that I liked. We made color changes, we did examples, and we sent them all through the channel. And I had three channels that was doing that actually. And then what we picked in the end, I did a last pick and choose. I settled on what would be in the drop, and I'm so satisfied with the results. But I've seen a drop like that dropped 2 days ago that did the exact same thing and didn't disclose it. So I know that's being done already, and we've had that discussion in the past. For people that's been here as long as us, we've had already that
Yeah.
discussion in the past. When you do that, you take stock, whether it's an object, an attribute, or something, you have to give the credit, because
Yeah.
it's in the certificate agreements.
Yeah.
You have to give the credit. And if you give the credit and you're upfront about that, well, the problem ain't there because that's there for professionals to use.
Yeah.
That's exactly the use that's intended in the stock photos. So I went ahead and disclosed everything so that it's clear. So for me, it's clear. If you're against that, then you have the choice before you purchase to make your mind and purchase or not. So I don't want to be dishonest about that or anything. But I've seen quite popular projects, just saying, in the last few
Yeah.
days, top of the charts. That does the same and it's nowhere. So yeah, uh, I don't want to say more than that, but I encourage those projects to be upfront about stuff like that. You don't have to hide it. It's still genuine work. It's just the background, and everyone in the space uses flat colors. They don't have to give credit to flat colors because they're just colors, right?
Yeah.
So it's fine, but give the credit to Caesar. Is that give to Caesar was to Caesar? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing because I mean projects want the work to be seen as their own, and they may have done stuff to make it their own. But at the same time, like even if they've done everything correctly and everything like that, it can be seen
Yeah,
by some. It's an opportunity for FUD. Is
yeah,
probably the
yeah.
best way to put it.
That's useless FUD because it
Yeah,
can clearly be disclosed uh, ahead of time. But when I say you have to disclose it, it's just that the certificate, there's different kind of certificate, and there's one that allows you to modify it and make it your own, but you still need to give credit.
yeah,
So it's just important to give the credit because if you get caught by that, you can be sued.
yeah, for a lot of money
So
as
it's
well.
just yeah, exactly. So the more money you make by selling that, the more money you'll be requested to give if you get caught.
Yeah,
So to me, it's just important to be upfront about that, even more that it's been discussed times and times again in the past, just in Cardano.
yeah,
But that's the story behind the backgrounds. I'm very satisfied with the choice we made.
yeah. I mean, like you've done a good job.
Thanks, man.
I'm just trying to get something. Else up. There we go. Just trying to keep the YouTube video semi-interesting for people. Um, It's like it's quite annoying because Discord will allow screen shares and video for up to 25 people, but it will cap the call at 25 people.
Hmm.
So if you're ever expecting more than 25 people, you're literally stuck with voice and voice only. So I have my second monitor and I'm just like scrolling through like the tools site, the tools thing for singularities and the website and a few other bits, Twitter and things like that. But every now and again I have a little bit of a muddle to get it all sorted. I'm still kind of noob at all this, so
It's not my cup of tea either. So thumbs
yeah.
up, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun challenge, and I get to meet great people like yourself, so I really enjoy it.
Well, then,
And I get
if
to
you get to
see
meet me,
manic singularities with manic grins and astronaut suits on them, which I mean that was pretty impressive. Singularity 92 it has the wings of duality and the astronaut suit and dreadlocks and a skull mouth, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. Whoever has
so
that, I'm jealous.
initially I was doing 10 different sets. Okay. And I wanted each of the categories to be filled for that character. So I had 10 teams, and I wanted to be able to, you know, um mix all the traits between all the different teams. But once the artist did that, it was his first NFT project ever. So the layering thing wasn't really familiar with that. Usually, he only uses layering for draft and then line art, flat colors, and shades. So
Okay.
that wasn't his cup of tea at all. So there's a lot of stuff that we had to script or adapt because it just wasn't fitting at all. But yeah, so we kept most of it and adapted uh, the coolest parts. But initially, like when you had the fire on the head, if you we had the fire alone and the horns alone, and you had both together. But if you had just the fire hasn't been done in a way that would fit without the horn. If you remove the horn, you could see
Oh
the
yeah,
background
yeah.
through. So it wasn't really well communicated on my end to the artist for that part, and we didn't want to start all over again with all the work that's been done and the delays. Because initially, I wanted to launch end of February, so there's been a couple of months of delay because of that part.
Yeah.
So I'm still very happy with the result.
So, how did you go about choosing the different traits and stuff? Like, was it, it with the community, or was it, getting your thinking caps on with your artist and wondering what would look cool, or?
Yeah, that's pretty much the later one with the artist. So we shared uh, a Google sheet in which we were dragging images from the web, from cool stuff and TV shows and stuff like that. And in the end, we came up with the 10 different teams and all the traits. So we had like a pimp, mafia boy. We had that sort of stuff. So you can see that different traits fit in different teams. We had like a cyberpunk as well, demon, death, like a guy that smokes weed, a gangster, and all that stuff. So it was very cool to see all the one of ones. But yeah, once we did cut all the traits that weren't working, we couldn't really go with the team, so we renamed everything and made it like one one bucket for everything. We kept three uh, three perfect, characters, just to have the nicest ones in the drop. But the rest, we did scrape that and replaced everything with the collaboration idea.
yeah, I mean, like, I mean, I've said it a couple of times already, but they came out looking like the bomb, to be honest. Like
The
the Death Reaper side is amazing.
Yeah, I like when my artist showed me that robe he did. I was like, holy shit! And
Yeah.
then the skull face and the tattoos on the body. I really liked that one. I actually kept the full one-on-one for that one.
Hmm.
I could share it with you if you wanna.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I'll just
Yeah,
shoot it in your DMs.
yeah,
Okay, so I'll show you the one of one that I kept. You should have had it by now.
yeah. Oh, I get another DM as well. Oh wow, yeah,
So
yeah.
that was
That's
the
oh
death
man.
character.
I'm just gonna need to like sit here and drool for a minute now. Okay.
So that's the death character, the perfect one of the three perfect ones in the drop.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I
like you don't know me, but half my t-shirts have Reapers on them. So yeah, I
I get
really
that
like this one.
comments. I get that comment a lot actually. I have some people who say like, if there's a skull on it, count me in. I'm buying it. That's quite cool. There's a good market for that in Cardano.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the other one of ones are from different projects. I'm not sure if you've seen those, but they're totally insane.
Yeah. I mean, like just scrolling through, even I'm showing like rank 200 and whatever to 250 at the minute, and they could all be one of ones, honestly. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's
that's
some
one
repeating
thing.
traits and stuff at this point, but they all stand alone really well on their own merits.
That's one thing I wanted to make sure of. In some drops, I got that feeling in the past. 'Cause I'm a big collector myself as well. Uh, for one I've eaten recently is on board. I've had more than 200 at some point,
Oh wow.
and yeah, so that one I really did like it. But some other drops that I have, when the pool come in, and I'm always telling myself, if I were to only get that specific one, I'd be I'd be so mad, at it because it's ugly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Nothing fits. It's just ugly. So I wanted to make at least every traits appealing in some way, and we kind of removed the possibility of some traits together that didn't look well.
Okay.
Uh, and
I
in
think you're
the
the first project that's actually said that they've done that to me.
That's really
Just
something I
really, yeah, randomly, but yeah, that's not something that's done very often.
so that was something important to me because I was thinking about the guy that I put myself into the shoes of the one that just puts his little play money of the week. If it's $20, it's $20, and he decides to purchase my project, and he gets a very ugly NFT. I didn't like the feeling or the customer relationship I would have with that person, so I wanted to make sure, at least in my power, that everything would be as great as possible for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that I perpetually mint in the the bottom 2% of rarity rankings and stuff like that. But like,
Ah,
the thing is that most projects I mint, I don't mind because they just look so damn good anyway. I'm kind of picky about what I get for myself. Like stuff I'll flip, but the stuff I get for
yeah.
myself, I'm quite picky about.
Hmm.
And again with yours, I minted one of yours, and it's fairly way down in the rarity rankings, but it looks flipping awesome.
I'm
Like
happy to hear that, man.
it's. I mean, I'm even showing it on YouTube now. It looks the bomb. It's ranked 1400 out of the 1542 on tools already, and it looks flipping awesome.
But
Just
if it stays
like
there and we win the full 10K,
it,
it'll
it
be in
could
the
be
top 15%.
9,999, and I'd still love it.
Great. I'm happy to hear that.
Like it's awesome.
And if you go on my Discord, I don't know if you joined,
Of
but
course I did.
there's a channel which is called One of Ones, and it's kind of icons of people shaking hands. You can see I posted there only the collaborations I did with the other projects. So
Nice.
you can see the 16 one of ones there if you want to show
Oh,
people. But
I'm on that already.
okay, so
There's
they're
the first one.
totally insane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ober NFT. Um, do you mind if I paste them into NFT chat as well, so people that
I
are
don't know, man.
listening to us
Put them
can?
all there.
Cool.
Absolutely, man. I want to put them on the stand as much as possible. That's one of the reasons why I did decide to include all the projects. I wanted to one have as much diversity as possible to appeal to different type of people, and I wanted as well to be able to give like in the case my project would be super. Successful that I'd be able to give like a view or share my user base with those that chose to help me, as they would be always at the top of the rarity charts. You know.
So yeah, the next one coming up is Ada Ninjas, and I mean, like you'd expect from Ada Ninjas, and you. Oh wow, yeah. See, this is going to be one of those phases where I just don't ask many questions, and nobody really asks any questions. We're just going to end up looking at it.
Yes, it's,
Like, so like you've done like lots of collaborations and stuff. Like, what process do you go through when you're deciding who to work with? Because
I
I
get,
mean, there's a
you
lot of
know,
collab requests go around after all.
yeah. With all pretty much all of those, it wasn't my first contact with them. I or invited them in the past. Into We have a private comics manga group for where I invited all the projects I know which are or publishing comics or publishing mangas, and we're in there. We share ideas and we try to help each others out. So from there, I kind of I got to know, Ada Ninjas. I got to know Bajewski. I got to know a few others, OBA NFT, sorry, um, and some others as well. There's Havoc Worlds. We also did a collaboration with. That was the first time I did a collaboration with that person, but I already at that time, Odin was doing a collaboration with Cosmo from Pendulum and Havoc Worlds. It's not revealed yet, but yeah, so I'm spilling the bean right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so both told me to invite him. So it would be cool that the three of them get to collaborate into two projects at the same time. So that's pretty much it. So I try to reach out to the team to get to the artist then, and then see if there's an interest. I always approach the people, the artists, in a way that if they feel comfortable working with me, and I want to give them uh, as much creativity power as possible. So I try to give strict guidelines, but that allow them to still do what they want with everything else. In that case, it was I want the position of the character, where it's looking, how it's positioned to be the same, pretty much the same, not exactly the same, but pretty much the same. But everything else, I want you to do it in your style, your interpretation of the character, and I wanted to shout that it's been done by yourself, you know. So we had as much diversity as possible, and that people would look at it and they would say, if it's appealing to them, they would like to know more, and they would go make the step, the additional step to know, who did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the I've got the Cinder Skulls one up on screen now, and
Ah, yeah, it's insane.
it's
It's
yeah, there
actually the
isn't words.
first female he did uh, in his Cinder collection. Never did a female before.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind blowing, to be honest. The effect that he's got with the smoke, and I love the whole guitar and leather jacket look, and the eyes are just insane, and the detail on the hair, and it
Oh, yeah, he nailed it.
the
He
the
nailed it.
background, and the little skull. It just it yeah, absolute talent, absolute talent.
Oh, yeah, it's all. I mean, it's all done in 3D. So the amount of work that this kind of thing takes, I'm like, dude.
Like I've just
Yeah,
zoomed in on the neck and seeing the light shadows on the neck, and the detail in there is yeah.
yeah. Just the vortex in the
Like
eyes and stuff
I've
like that.
seen Cinder Skulls before, and they the skull thing. I mean, it's kind of my thing, but it's the ones that I've seen haven't really struck with me. But this really strikes with me. Like
Well,
yeah.
they have.
I'm glad that you made this one happen for us, like, because it's yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to find
And
another one that'll say everything that I've just said. I'll say it again. But
and there's also the last one was Cosmos one from Pendulum, and that's the actually the first. Is Pendulum, the
yeah,
concept,
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
chaos versus
yeah.
order. So that's actually the first chaos character that he's done.
Wow.
So that's quite, some Easter eggs like that you can get to know if you dig into the project and talk with the community. But there's stuff like that's there's content, to kind of scratch if you want to know more. But
Yeah,
the one that did pick up the most is the Havoc Worlds one. Havoc did build quite an incredible community actually, because the response and the engagement to each and every post that has that one is outstanding. It's out of this world. For a Cardano community, I don't want to diminish us, but in uh, number of people, we tend to get quite smaller communities than Ethereum and such.
yeah,
But for Avoc Worlds, every time there's one of their characters, they come in hundreds of people. It's very outstanding.
yeah. That's quite insane.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I I have to. The problem for me with the Havoc Worlds one is that I've already seen the Cinder Skulls one. Like, and I
So
feel bad
that's the
saying, I
thing,
feel really bad saying that, because the Havoc Worlds one is great.
but it's
Like
it's
it,
perfect,
but
it's the one that appeals to you, and that's why I wanted such amount of diversity.
yeah,
Because somebody else will feel exactly the same thing you feel for the Cinder School one, for the Crypties and FT one, or for maxing ones, and they'll be looking at that one, thinking about that one's like it's their goal. I want to get that freaking one.
yeah,
So everyone will be rated differently depending on who looks at it.
yeah, and it's great that you've been able to bring all these different styles into it. Like
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
you know,
fairly happy with the result.
you know, a lot of projects, you know, it's great to say, well, you know, we think we've got something for everyone, but you know, like this really is something for everybody.
I hope so. If you just look at Udon's one, it stands out from the rest. It's just so different, and it appeals to a lot of people as well. When you look at it, you say it's Udon. Uh,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you've looked
sure.
at his work before, but it's if you just scroll up a bit and see Bajuski one, it's a totally different vibe.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
mean,
it's
I
in the
like
same job.
Bajuski as well, actually. I do hold a few
Oh yeah,
vampires, so feel free to do a collab with him, so I can burn some vampires and another singularity.
that'd be great actually. I'll talk to him. He's a nice guy.
Or maybe
I
not a
really liked
singularity.
his.
Maybe you know the next drop perhaps.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's plenty of room for any kind of collaboration. I'll make room just to get him collaborate with me. So
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's always really interesting to see, you know, artists come together like that, especially artists that are, you know, traditionally different genres or
yeah,
certainly very different styles, and see how they bring them together. Like it's something that I appreciate in music as well, and it's great to see it happening in this way in the art world.
yeah. I'm very lucky to have been able to gather all those into one collaboration. And one thing I did that I think was very cool to do, I created a server, a private server, and invited all of them. So every time someone would join, everyone would greet the person and they could talk together about inspiration or and everything. And so they could put like when they have a sketch or something, they could add it up and ask if people like it. You could do that differently, and it could at the same time inspire the others. Oh, he's going that way. Okay, so I can do that and do that and do that. So it was very something that would channel inspiration, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like,
And that
it's
way they
turned into
also
less of an
kind of
AMA rather than me gawp at your artwork, to be honest. But
so, but at the same time, they could. There were people that didn't know each other that now know each other. So I'm always happy to bring people, of talent together. We never know what it will, uh, end up being in the future. If they do another collaboration together in the future, and it's a very great success, I'll just be there and I'll say to myself, "Fuck, man, that's great that you did introduce those two people together to
yeah,
one another."
definitely. So I've not really had a chance to say this yet, but if anyone's got any questions, feel free to fire them up in NFT chat, and I'll make sure that Sam gets a chance to answer. Um, I think we got through most of the big questions at this point as it goes. So there may or may
Yeah,
not be too many
I
questions left.
sorry, and I talk a lot.
No, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, like, we've got an hour and 10 minutes in before we even had the chance to remember to open it up for other people to ask
Ask
questions. So,
questions.
like, great AMA there, guys.
I'll answer the question you don't want to ask, bro.
So yeah, I mean, like, it's so like, what's been the 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 thing you're proudest of, or like, you know, the one bit you look back and think, you know, that's that's the thing I'm
I
happiest
think
with.
not just with the project. I think it's because I always wanted to say if I did have some kind of success and did get to be known by X amount of people or did manage communities and that kind of stuff, that I would like to remain humble and still value every newcomers and talk to everyone the same way like I'd like to be talked to. And also, I never forgot any help I had in the past. At least I think. Um, so if you help me and I didn't help back, ping me. But yes, I try to stay humble and not forget where I'm coming from. Uh, and everybody that gave me a chance when I needed a chance, uh, you know, I'm I'm very what's the word? Help
Thankful
me.
or humble or yeah.
Thankful. I'm very thankful about that, and I'm let's say that's one thing I'm proud is that I'm able to not change even though I get more and more attention every day. Um, it seems stupid, but when you get no time to answer to your DMs because too many people are writing to you, I think you could easily go like, look at me, bro. You're not worth replying to or something like that. And I take more the approach that Cardano Well, sorry, is taking. I feel that this person is a very humble person and, obviously has many more followers than I do. But I like the approach of the person. And yeah, so that's the kind of person I aspire to be. I'm proud to have stayed on that path so far. And yeah, that's pretty much the thing. Let's say I'm a fan of personal development, as well as socially as spiritually. So I'm an adept of that, and that's something I think is important to be able to keep an eye on yourself at all time and put yourself in perspective in the world you live in, because it's easy to lose your way and you lose yourself in the world we live in. We're kind of drawn everywhere, and there's so many stuff we can just consume all day long and lose ourselves into. So yeah, that's something I'm very passionate about. I have a little hard time explaining it properly because of the language barrier, but
I,
learn a bit of French, and then I'll explain you what I mean. Okay?
well, give me a year or two, and I'll be speaking my best Valley French to you.
All right.
Because I know the French there is very different to the French in France, so I've got some
Yeah.
unlearning to do before I do some learning as well.
Yeah. Exactly. From what I've heard lately, the French from France almost speak English now. So like all their expressions are English now.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, even when I was going to France as a kid, it was a case of I found it a lot harder to practice French in France than I did at home because everybody wanted to practice their English.
okay. So yeah, it's yeah. So learn French, and not this year, but next year if there's another Vegas,
Yeah, definitely.
and you
I,
go.
I hope
And
to be there. We shall see what the lady says, but yeah, I do hope to be there in some capacity.
I would have liked to be there, but that's exactly the time of the year my newborn will come to this world. So I'll 100% will stay by his side
Yeah,
or her side. I don't know yet.
yeah. I mean, congratulations on that one. That's for sure. Like,
Thanks a lot.
talk about creating an artwork, and then you have this coming along. So it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, if there's no further questions from Discord chat, then I think it's probably about time to round it up.
All right. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I definitely look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Likewise, man. Have a good
And
one.
yeah, thank you to everyone that's turned up and listened to us waxing lyrical about this amazing artwork. If you happen to be tuning in later on YouTube, feel free to give it a like and a share. And if you're feeling particularly generous, a subscribe would be nice as well. So thank you, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you all soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.